Start off.
How has practice this week been with MJ at quarterback?
Yeah, we've had a good week. Good energy. Guys are on offense, definitely taking on the different things that we've asked them to do. It's a collective healing that needs to take place, and obviously there's a major change at that position, but all the positions are involved in this process of getting better, and it's been fun to see that. There's been a collective effort. MJ does a great job from an energy standpoint of encouraging people. He always has. But the guys around him understand they've got to pick up their play for the quarterback as well.
Someone lost this week with MJ, but Marshall's a very solid team. And
yeah,
do you kind of see any similarities to your Northern Illinois squads where you were the 41-year-old coach and now you're going against the 40-year-old coach?
Yeah, I told our team that. These were the games that we had circled on our schedule at Northern. We made a huge deal out of playing Power 5 teams. Kids on our team were slighted in recruiting. That's how we talked to them. Nobody wanted you on that roster. No one recruited you on that roster. And so we know, I've spoken to them about it, and we're going to get Marshall's best. You can point to the wins they've already had with Virginia Tech, last year with Notre Dame. And then just the history of us playing them. When I was there, I don't remember how many years ago it was, but we went down 13-3, 20-10, and then had to come back to win the game. So we know, our team knows, that we're playing a good football team, and they're well coached. They've got good players, and they'll come in here ready to play.
What is the biggest thing defensively when you look at them trying to maybe run first on offense?
For their defense?
Mm-hmm. No, your defense.
Our defense?
Yeah.
It's really continue doing what we're doing. We've played really well stopping the run. We've been excellent on third down. And I think the area that when you play Marshall, explosive plays, they've got some dynamic guys after the catch. Their quarterbacks are really good athletes, so scrambling around, our guys got to be disciplined in coverage. If he does break the pocket and not let people get behind us, that's hurt us this year a couple times. But, I think it's just a continuation, and our tackling in this game will be really, really important because there will be space plays.
I gather you were able to add Northern Illinois to the schedule?
Yeah, I think we play them next season.
What's that going to be like in terms of...
Dude, I'm worried about this weekend, man. I hope I'm alive, by the end of the year. We'll see.
I think earlier this week or last week you talked about some of the offensive plays that didn't end up working out because guys either ran their routes inside instead of outside or what have you. What adjustments did you need to make in those areas? Was that a mental mistake?
Yeah, players need to do their jobs, if we call for a certain route and we practiced it right all week and we get in the game, it should look like it did in practice. And so that's just, at some point in time, you're going to coach all the little details, and then they got to come alive. The players have to make them come alive. And so, there's ownership from the coaches, there's ownership from the players. There's two parts to the equation. And so that part, executing, is what we're talking about. If they press and you're supposed to release a certain way, then you need to do that for the quarterback, because it gets confusing when the guy's expecting you to be here and you're there. For him, that's not a good thing. So that happened a couple times, not a lot, but every play matters in a football game.
Part of that ownership, not having penalties that really put you guys not staying on track.
Yeah. So there's multiple kind of penalties. There's pre-snap focus penalties, and we've had our share of those, not as many as we had in the past. The offensive holding penalties have been a problem, and so that's technique. Sometimes the refs call it more than other refs, per game. Some guys let you get away with more, and that's a player's responsibility to understand. These guys are calling it tight, and I got to keep my hands inside, and if the guy's getting away, I can't pull on them, and a player has to understand that. That's part of the game of football. It's no different than basketball. You get in some games and they can play more physical than other games. You got to understand how to adjust within the game. Obviously, we're not coaching guys to do that, but that is part of the game, and we've got to grow in that area.
It's been a year since MJ's played in a game.
Yeah.
What's maybe the biggest area of growth you've seen from him?
I think what he's been through to this point has been really good for him. I think being able to kind of take a breath coming off the injury and learn and absorb and mature and understand how important every little thing is. He's preparing now like a vet. Whereas last year, it's like, oh my God, I'm in. And he went in and did some good things, and then he went in and didn't do some good things. And I think he's learned a lot through the process. He's matured, which is what you would expect from a second-year player. And he's just been so supportive in the role that he had. And I think because of that, the respect not just from coaches and teammates, but the relationship that he and Brennan have is unique. You know, it's really special to see how those guys support each other.
Speaking of that relationship, how significant is it to have such a good bond between those two?
Yeah, I think, you know, in every position group, you want your room to be, we say we're all brothers, right? But you want those guys to have each other's backs. And I think when you're in the same room, there's a different pressure that comes with each group, you know, like when you play quarterback, it's different. It is. And so the guys in that room got to have your back. And they got to be, you know, there to cheer you up. They got to be there to help you through it and understand, because like for MJ, he's played. He understands what that pressure feels like and what Brennan was going through in that moment. He understands how hard that was for him. And so he's been a great teammate. And I know Brennan's excited for MJ. He told the offense they need to go play their butts off for him, which was a huge moment, you know, from a character and leadership standpoint to see that from Brennan. I mean that one was, to hear that he did that was a huge thing.
Last week you kind of knew that Plummer was not the most mobile guy.
Right.
This week I think your defense is going to relish the opportunity of maybe getting 10 to 15 hits on a running quarterback.
You know, as a defensive player, you're not allowed to touch the quarterback until game day, right? And so they like hitting that guy when they can. And I'm not saying cheap or anything like that, but you know, you get yelled at every day at practice for getting too close to the quarterback. Well, you get in the game and there is no too close to the quarterback anymore. And so we understand that all offenses flow through the trigger guy. And there are guys, man, he had a great game last week. He's athletic and is a guy that can throw the football. And
He'll take off though.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a state champion hurdler, and he's a good athlete. So each week it's a different challenge on defense, and I know our guys will be excited about this one.
How much does it help to get Devin Boykin back this week
Yeah.
with Sean Brown having missed the first half?
Yeah, Devin's a coach. You know, his dad's a high school head coach. He comes in with a different mindset as that football IQ and aptitude is really, really good. He's a communicator. And so having him out there, I think, is just for all the guys. He's a glue guy in the back end. He can direct traffic. He can play all three positions, nickel, strong, and free. So he gives us flexibility in our package that way. And so we're excited to have him back. Getting Rock back 2 weeks ago, getting him back, Dylan McMahon back. Like, we're starting to see some progress in our health, which is the right time to do that.
When it comes to Sean Brown and that appeal process, do you
Yeah.
get an explanation at all of that denial?
Yeah, no, they talked us through it, and as a defenseless player, Sean's head was down. If there's any contact to the neck and the head, then they're going to call targeting, and as much as we all thought it was a great play, because it was, his head was down, and so that was the ruling, and I'm not going to say I like that rule, I don't, but that is the rule, and so that's the decision that was made, and I support it.
Coach, you talked about wanting a spark out of your offense.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason you made the QB change. Is that something you can see in practice? Was there more?
Oh yeah. No, I think MJ did a great job coming in and understanding what we need. You know, we needed to galvanize the guys. Each group has their piece in this thing. Offensively, each position group has been challenged to do their job and help the quarterback and to play what we call 11-man football. Just each guy, you know, in harmony playing together, and the synchronicity of the sport when it flows the right way. You saw it on defense a week ago. It's just guys working together and making it look really good, you know, and you can have the same thing on offense, and we've seen spurts of it, but that's where we want to be. You know, we want to be a four-phase team: offense, defense, special teams, and then our sideline energy. And so that piece that we're missing is definitely prevalent in practice this week and how they went out there and went about their work.
Would you say that the most important piece is that offensive line, because you got some guys
Sure.
in there and everything?
Yeah, I think everything on offense, the functionality of an offense, if you block better, each play looks better, okay? The quarterback has more time to throw. The receiver has a better opportunity to get open, right? The running back has a bigger hole to run the ball through. It all starts with that. And so when those guys can function 5 as 1 in that group, and then you tie the tight ends in sometimes to the blocking schemes, it helps everybody. It does. And so having Dylan back in the middle will help that. Cooper now moving to guard so he can take the experiences he had at center with Dylan now tell him, you know, the protections. He doesn't have that mental piece now. He can just play. I think you're going to see a different group.
That good, everybody?